G'day, I'm Ben from Cash Pro Australia, and this is the most unprofessional lawn care podcast in the world. Lawn Care Skull Sessions with my co-host, the bearded lawnsman. BJ, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's going? Good, brother. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, life's not really that exciting for me right now.
Mowing your grass again?
Yeah, plenty of mowing.
What'd you say? It's probably easier to tell me fucking what days you haven't mowed.
Yeah. No, that's true. I've been doing, a lot of mowing around the house, but first week back at school for the kids, and it was a little bit tarnished because young Mace, my little moo-moo, had, she ended up having a throat infection, so.
Oh, is that what it was in the end?
Yeah, just fucking take her down to the hospital and you get some fucking jerk who's like, oh, it's just viral.
Yeah.
You'll just have some more rest.
Oh, man.
And so we got a house doc in, one of the home, one of the ones that you can call, because it was getting fucking late, and I knew like her temperatures were really getting up there, and she just had a headache for so long. It's not right for a little person to have a headache for so long. Anyway, this dude, man, he was carrying a little capsule with him, like an antibiotic, and just fucking wakes up the next day, fucking booyah!
Straight back into life.
She was still in pain.
Yeah.
But that was the night before Australia Day.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what we were going to really be able to do. Like, my other girls were like, nah, fuck, mates, let's just go out. And I was like, man, we cannot do that.
Yeah.
Like, if she's fucked, then we just have to chill.
Yeah.
Anyway, ended up going to Bribey Island and all got sunburnt. Actually, I was the only one who didn't.
Yeah. You've got that sun experience. No,
I actually hung out. I had like a little fucking gazebo set up.
Oh, fancy. Cocktails?
Oh, I don't drink, but I was just mostly just kind of. I actually had a little nap.
Fuck yeah, that's what it's all about.
Because we were with my brother-in-law and his family.
Yeah.
And so the kids were really entertained. And Vicky was obviously with her sister, so she was chilling. I was just like, fuck yeah, let's light up a dab, eh?
You didn't burn yourself, like fall asleep and drop it on yourself?
Nah, there was people bloody looking at me though.
Oh, get fucked.
Yeah. How about y'all?
Oh man, it's fucking been an adventure. The last couple of weeks I've just been flat out. We did get away for a date night on Wednesday night. Obviously public holiday on Thursday.
How many fingers?
She only put 3 in me.
Oh, that was the best comeback. I could never have imagined such a good comeback. That was a great comeback.
You're welcome. No, it was awesome. We went and saw Tom Segura live, which was fucking incredibly funny.
How much did you laugh?
Oh, I had proper tears. It was
because laughing for like 3 minutes is like working out for 30 minutes. Did you know that?
I thought I'd be fucking skinny then because I was just laughing all the time. No, it was an excellent show. Jeff Tate was on before. Obviously, if you don't know who they are, go and check them out because they are fucking funny. He also does a podcast with Bert Kreischer, who it's like Two Bears, One Cave. Lots of guys who listen to us. Also, like, they're inappropriate as fuck, so they like all that sort of gear. But yeah, really funny. I fucking got there, smashed some drinks before we walked in, and they weren't too bad. But QPAC, like, it's not really, like, they're not used to having that kind of crowd. Like, I was looking around, and they were just fucking magnificent beards, bald heads, and fucking, it was just like I was with my people. So, no, it was good, but business-wise, man, fucking flat out. Like, literally, like, it's Friday today. Normally, we would do the podcast on a Tuesday.
The public holiday jerked you around.
Yeah, public holiday fucked me around a bit.
See, we couldn't work.
Yeah.
We did a little bit on Australia Day night.
Yeah.
Just preparing ourselves for the next day, which is today.
Yeah.
But, like, we couldn't work, but you guys, you couldn't work at some sites as well, so you got to make up that time.
I always ask the boys, I'm like, do you want to work? Do you not want to work? Whatever. But Rusty had to go to one of the fucking villages, the main village to do the bins, and I got a phone call at it was like 4:45 at night from the bigwig there, and he's like, mate, Rusty hasn't been to do the bins. I was like, fuck. So I rang Rusty. He's like, yeah, I'm here. I was like, oh, fucking
I'm just tying my shoelaces.
Yeah, he's like, I would have been here an hour ago. So he got paid for the day. He just had to go and put the bins out. I don't know what time he fucking finished, but I know what time he started. He's like, oh, I thought I only had the red bins today, but I had both. So, oh well. Fucking should have gone there earlier. But
now, just reiterate to everyone, it's probably, how many bins do you reckon there are? Like, there's probably
about 40.
I think more.
You reckon?
If it's both days, yeah.
Yeah, it was both.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 50 bins.
And what you got to do is you obviously have to take all of the full bins out and line them all up along the curb. But then there are, I mean, look, that's actually the extent of the job, but some of the bins are not full.
Yeah.
So you consolidate, and it's kind of much of a muchness. It takes you as long or whatever, but the reason why we actually do it is there's not actually enough curb to fit all the bins there.
Yeah.
So
no, the fucking dudes still can't empty bins for shit. They're always fucking all across the path and all fucking thrown all over the place. So
yeah, well, we got that.
Pisses me off, eh?
When I get home and I see like just it's if there's one bin down, no biggie, right? But like I can't stand it when you drive along. I'm talking about your own street, and there's just fucking bins down, rubbish. There's birds, you know.
It's like a fucking acrobat emptied them and fucking just flipped them over his head. He's like, yay!
So actually, what happened on my street is, and I've been here for a good couple of months now, but the bin guy, the one who does the green waste bins, he must just be like, oh yeah, I know that once I've done this, then I'm fucking good to get out of here because it's a no-through road.
Yeah.
It's a no-through road. It's a dead-end street that you can't turn around on.
Yeah.
Like past my place, and I've had me green bin on the other side of my reds. And he's just done the good old fucking, nah, I'm done. And he just cruised.
Oh, no way.
So I had to go a whole, anyway, I went and emptied it myself at a tip, but fuck.
Yeah, well, I've got a similar problem where so we were on a slip road and with the last house, and this motherfucker, since Christmas, he has not emptied our recycling bin properly. So he's like tossing it back and bringing it down without giving it the little wiggle at the top. And we still got half a fucking recycling bin. I was like,
yeah, well, because...
Dog. And it's not tight. It's not like packed tight. So...
Because I live in a smack house, one of the bins here was like proper gross. And I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for not cleaning it. But what the issue is that like there's some waste down the bottom of it, right, that has like not broken down. It's just kind of like glued itself.
Solidified.
Yeah, it's just so gross and like like we have like one of those bins where like it gets emptied, but you always get the little bit of muck at the bottom. But,
just smash the side and get a new one.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever.
Doesn't cost you anything to get a new one. It just costs you when we get we got a bigger one. We got one of those big recycling bins.
Yeah, well, I got a big fucker of that, and then I got 2 reds.
Oh.
Because we just got so much waste of Catch Pro.
Yeah, true.
And I actually burn a shitload of our Catch Pro stuff as well.
Like fire starters.
Just anything that I can burn.
Yeah.
Anything that I can burn.
Well, you guys use the fire pit a lot. We'd fucking smoke our house out if we had a fire out the front.
Yeah, I light fires all the time, even when it's hot as fuck. Anyway, we've got a new review here. We might just get that out of the way, brother.
Yeah, from Cam 0000006. Hey Ben and BJ, must admit I've only just started listening to the series from the start. Despite having had plenty of chats to BJ about a zero turn, didn't realise you boys had a show. I am terrible at advertising. Only 2 years into contracting, hadn't had much of a chance to listen till now. I've got lots to catch up on. Just finished app on battery gear is the future. Just wanted to add, I've been using the Husky battery gear since September 21 till current, and it's been amazing. Battery life, power, reliability, length of battery, and charge times all fantastic. Cheers, and so glad I have so many apps to listen to. So yeah, I feel the same way when I find a good fucking podcast. I'm just like, yeah.
Well, thanks for getting amongst it, Cam.
Cheers, bro.
Just note, there's probably a couple of episodes in there that we shit the bed with.
Yeah, definitely. Unprofessional podcast of the fucking year award goes to us.
But there is some real good gems in there, so stay with us. We appreciate having you.
Yeah.
Just quickly, actually, just to piggyback on this battery review, for anyone out there that is looking at the Bushranger stuff, they do now have a quick charger cradle.
Oh, can I have that?
You can't have mine. You can go get one.
What? I don't contract you anymore.
Hey, yeah, I still got batteries to charge.
Oh, right.
For when I mow my lawn.
Whatever.
For when I mow my lawn 7 times a week.
Okay. Fair enough. You actually probably need it more than I do.
So, look, the dealers might not be aware, like your Bushranger dealer might not be aware that these exist. Just say, they fucking do, mate, and get me one.
Yeah.
And I've had a little play around with it. I mean, I don't know what is quick in terms of quick charger. It still took about 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a 5 amp.
Yeah, 5 amp. But what obviously the beauty of it is that it has its own cooling fan. So if your batteries are hot, you can bung them in there and it'll charge. Whereas before, you had to wait for them to cool down, and you could have maybe wait 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then they would take like an hour.
Yeah, because we have the bushy stuff set up at one of our villages, so it's fucking all, everything's sort of on a schedule, so we have it all down pat. So I'll probably get one, just cause.
You gotta get one.
Just cause.
It's one of those things that you sort of can't afford not to have it.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, do I look any skinnier? Probably not, eh?
Oh, it's hard to tell, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll take my clothes off later.
You just BJ'd me, man.
I know, it's so hard, man. I'm on, well...
Does my hair look any greyer?
Don't know, fucking hell, I shave my head because I do my own haircuts because, you know, I'm so fancy. And every time I cut my hair, I'm like, into the sink. I'm like, fuck, it's just changing colour every time, more and more grey. But I'll stay bald, so I'll never be able to tell.
Yeah. Just a little bit further on just some battery talk quickly.
Oh, yeah?
I saw there was like a big thread on LMCA about a bloke that was blowing out switches on the Ego. And it was just like, I mean, I didn't contribute only because I just was very much in two minds. Like looked like there was a couple of different arguments going on. And it's tough for me because obviously I've done some work with Ego in the past, and I really love Baz. I think he's down for the contractor, but I'm also I consider myself to be one for the contractors as well, so it's kind of a little bit on both sides. One thing that I didn't think was really being received in there was the particular user did have the guard off. Now, you know, if you're comparing it to petrol stuff, you know, you won't be blowing out switches, you'll potentially blow out a clutch or, you know, something like that. Eventually, might not happen. I mean, I can't say it really happened to me.
I haven't really. I've never done a clutch in a snipper before.
I've done one before, for sure. The other thing that was kind of being said was maybe Ego should do some thorough testing, and I think also the point that was being missed is that wherever that guard is placed on that machine is because Ego has done extensive amount of testing, saying this is the amount of cord that you need, and this is where the guard is going to be to protect that switch and the motor. So there's a few things that I think were being missed.
I totally get it. Now, hopefully that Baz is on all over that fucking thread. So hopefully he takes that info and takes it back to R&D, and maybe they can
upgrade the switch
because so many people run without the guard. And like realistically, I think with the new battery stuff, with like the ampage overloads and all those sort of things, I think people would really appreciate, especially contractors, if all these brands went the extra mile and took the guards off and ran the cord at a little bit longer length, because, you know.
But they do that. They do that. I only know this just because of the Bushranger R&D stuff. Like, there's actually a jig out at... Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's like a cradle.
No, well, this was just a fucking frame with 2 pieces of string.
Yeah, and it like holds
the snipper there. And they just slam that thing down, and they get their run times, and then they get the loads and everything. I was gonna say, in defense of the contractor, that I didn't think that ego was necessarily picking up on, is that even though, yes, you're supposed to run it with a guard, and that's the rules, and you know, if you don't do it, you're not going to get your warranty, it would be nice to be able to cater for it, just because other brands are.
I think it's hard though for any brand, because then they may cop that liability. Like, no,
not really, because if they sell it with the guard on and that's what they do, so the, you know, say for example, the still that you're using at the village, the bush rangers that we're using now, they have like a 40 amp switch in them.
Yeah.
So you can run that cord longer.
Yeah.
It was something that they put in there to be comparable to a piston unit.
Yeah. And that's the end goal, isn't it? Like, realistically, you want
the end goal, and I can't speak for any of these other manufacturers except for Bush Ranger, and everyone can say like, oh fucking, you know, Ben's jerking off in Bush Ranger's face or whatever it is, but it's so far beyond the point. The point is that they're sort of, what their goal with their battery equipment is, let's make it as comparable to a petrol unit as we possibly can, so that when a new contractor or someone that is new to battery equipment is looking down this line, at least it feels comparable.
Yeah. And I think
acts the same way.
They've actually hit the nail on the head. It's super comfortable, and when I first got the Ego stuff, like I still don't care about the link, but I 100% love the fact that you can just chuck a battery in the back of the bushy and it's so well balanced and you can just go, and it's got a pretty reasonable run time. It's like 45 minutes on a 5 amp because there's two settings, like there's a high and a low. So I just keep it on the low because everything I do is maintained.
Well, at my place, I have it on the low and I move it up to the high, usually if I'm in a rush and I want to be a bit quicker. Sometimes I crank it up and it's like, you know, so
I actually had it on the, so I went and did a fair bit of work at one of the villages, and I had it because I took it off Luke. I was like, nah, if I'm here, I'm using this. And he had it on the high, and I was like, why are you doing that, man?
He's just a young go-getter,
He's fucking. I'm really happy. Like, I've had nothing but good feedback about him, except for like he's. Have
you been gay to him yet?
No.
Did I ask you that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time. I was a little bit gay to Rusty today.
Yeah.
But and then straight away he was telling Luke, like, I had to put up with this shit all the time with Ben. He's lucky. I could have taken him to HR, and I was just fucking crying. I was just I was like, fuck off, man. Like,
that would have turned me on so much.
He would have doubled up your efforts. But no, he's good. Like, he's actually starting to. He had no hedging experience, and now he's like knocking out hedges and taking before and afters and posting them on his Facebook, and it's really good, man. It's like everyone would know, it's staff sort of can make or break a business. And if he's a little bit more invested than other people. But one thing did happen. So I've got like a couple of really nice ages, but my main vein, they sold off mark, and they didn't tell me until after they were sold because they didn't know like how long it would be. But it was literally like 2-week turnaround. So we may have done our last service there, which is a bit sad. But
hopefully the new owners are attractive.
Yeah, I mean, they're in their 40s, so they. What?
How fucking old are you?
I'm almost in my 40s.
Jesus.
Oh,
fuck. Dude, 40-year-olds are hot.
Yeah, I know.
I look at a 20-year-old now and I'm like, I'm not your type. And I look at a 40-year-old and I think like, ooh, yeah, after a hard day's work, you put those kids to bed. What you wearing underneath there?
Yeah. And I can't wait to watch like a fucking show from like 12, 13 years ago with you over and over again.
Do you want hey, do you want the shittest root of your life?
Are you so tired that this is going to either go too quick or not at all?
No, baby, you can just sleep. Just let me do my thing.
You can just play Candy Crush.
Let's go fishing and get a trout.
Oh my god. Did you see that fucking story?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh shit.
I don't want to talk about it.
The memes that are coming out, the memes that are fucking rolling around the internet right now about that.
I showed my missus that video, and she was just like 100% speechless.
So they are getting, I think the same people are in trouble for doing something very similar on a grave as well.
Yeah, saw that. That's not cool.
I'm like, geez, man, it was.
I gotta be honest, I don't like fishing that much, but I'd probably go fishing if that sort of stuff was happening. I know that makes me sound really
just driving past in your boat and just seeing someone just with half a shark hanging out their ass or something. Like, whoa.
Just quickly, before we actually move on to our real topic, I just wanted to pedal backwards a little bit and just say the last thing about ego is that, look, I still, for anyone out there using the gear, or for anyone who's thinking about getting the gear, I still very much believe in the product. BJ is still using a lot of his ego stuff. Yep. And even though, you see this stuff come up and down, there is, there's, for this 1 or 2 or 10 or however many people that may have had a similar issue, there's like another 500 or whatever that have had awesome experiences. So,
and see if you can seek out demos. And also, one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people have a lot of different businesses. So if you're going to ask someone to recommend pieces of equipment, try and pick someone with a similar style of business to you, because there's no point if you're fucking slashing acreages, you ask me how I find my ego snippers, because I really haven't put them through like a daily grind of acreage snipping, like their maintenance machine. So
yeah, it's not really for that, right? The other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about just before we actually move on to today's episode, there's a little bit of controversy in LMCA with like I don't know what words I'm looking for. I'm not going to actually mention the lady's name just because I don't know,
just
might make her feel uncomfortable, I guess. But there was just like, a whole heap of conversation about inclusiveness.
Yeah.
And look, the only reason why I'm bringing it up now is I only want to bring it up because I want to sort of commend LMCA. I didn't agree with all the comments in that thread. By far, I didn't agree with all those comments. But look, I think as a group, I think we should all be fairly proud of ourselves.
Hell yeah.
I know what that lady was talking about, and I'm with her 100%, and I think a lot of people are also on the same page. I do think there was a little bit of controversy surrounding the actual thought of it, because even herself, she had made a derogatory post about vegans.
Yeah.
Which I believe is very much on the same level. Like if
you're attacking anyone in any, like, if you're going to post about something
like a strong belief or opinion,
like something like that, then you have to fucking respect everyone.
You have to be perfect, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think and
it's hard to be perfect, but I do believe if you're asking a wide audience,
5,000 other members,
if you're asking someone else to be perfect, I believe you need to be perfect.
Yeah.
I will also say that I tried to do my own research. I spent probably 30 minutes going through just your everyday posts.
Yeah.
And I have to say that nothing really came up to me. Everything in every post was like, "G'day Lawnies." There was obviously "G'day guys," but that was more of like a broad.
Yeah.
And it was actually said by that particular person that posted that, "Hey, I'm cool with that."
Yeah.
So it was tough nonetheless, because we lost that person as a member, which I think is sad. and obviously I think some people got exposed as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there was lots of females on the page who were opposed to what was going on.
Yeah.
Saying that they feel comfortable.
But yeah, they felt comfortable.
Apparently there's a lot of women that do not feel very comfortable.
Yeah, well, see, that's the hardest thing too. Like we say that, you know, every time one of these posts comes up, it gets a lot of fucking attention. And, you know, some people don't like that kind of attention. Some people don't like having to defend themselves or their opinions. But I guess if you're going to make a post, you got to fuck it. That's the problem with opinions. Like, everyone's got one. So that's the thing with these posts is some people have been brought up completely different to other people, and, you know, you just have to accept everyone for who they are, unless they're like actually attacking someone personally or attacking a group of people. And I feel like using like, hey guys, how you doing? I don't think that's actually like trying to leave anyone out. I think.
Well, she did say that. I think she was more referring to if there was like a g'day boys, g'day blokes.
Yeah.
And I think something that was missed is like certain questions would actually the people are actually wanting to just address boys.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got a problem with your fucking testicles, right? You are probably going to say, hey blokes,
yeah,
how do you guys feel about this, and what's the issues here? I think that would be fine.
I guess, like, if it's a gender specific fucking question, but
yeah, that's what I mean. But like, I also think too that 99% of all people that maybe have made that mistake, maybe they haven't been as aware as what some other people might be. I would say 99% of them didn't even know what the fuck they were doing.
They were just fucking typing as they see fit.
I was a little bit offended though when I saw that there was females in the group that thought that they would either be attacked for posting or be attacked for having any input. Do I think that LMCA has that culture? In no way, shape or form.
No.
Jared and Anthony get accused of standing there and letting shit happen, but it's a double-edged sword for those dudes. They put their hand up and they try and mediate something, they get absolutely smashed. So
I totally hats off to those two, because two people managing 5,000 is fucking huge.
And they even said it themselves, like, man, we're not your fucking parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fucking deal with your
There's
own
5,000 adults in the page. Like, you know, there might be a couple of young fellas and young ladies in the background. You know, James Mioto fucking posts a fair bit. He's a young fella. But realistically, everyone's a fucking adult. So, yeah, act like it. It's a bit sad that the post got so much traction, but oh well.
And I think also the post took a life of its own. And there was a lot of comments in there where it looked like people hadn't actually read the whole post.
And I'm sure it didn't stop on the page. I'm sure there were plenty of private messages going on to fucking...
And that's the bullshit too.
Yeah. No one fucking... It's just... Yeah.
So...
It's not a get it off your chest page. It's a fucking...
Yeah. And the only reason, like I said, that I was bringing it up is that... you know, I was on both sides of that as well. Like, I understand where the lady was coming from, and I don't think she was out of line by asking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of didn't really see that there was a need to post it. Like, it seemed like it's come up once before, right?
It's come up more than once. I think that those sort of posts are a mix between just being inquisitive and bait. I think those posts will always get a massive amount of people intrigued, and if someone's reading through the comments, it may not have anything to do with the post, but reading through the comments and reading other people's opinions will make them go, well, fuck them, and put their opinion, and then it just, like you said, it takes on a life of its own.
Yeah, we've all seen it happen, and you know, you and I have both. You know, we've been in the middle of those things before, and we're trying to stay out now. So, and obviously, I even commented.
I didn't because you know what, on those sort of issues, My opinion is my opinion. Like, fucking, it's mine. I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep it to myself. Like, either way, it's like a mystery opinion.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I felt really bad for that person, but then at the same time, kind of felt bad for the group because I kind of thought that as a community we're kind of being accused of something that really, yes, it may have been true to some extent, you know, in the large scope of things, but for a community that's taking on 50 posts a day, you know, maybe more, pretty damn good to be honest, as a community. All right, let's...
Oh, wait. We got one more thing.
Sorry.
Fucking hell. Hey, thank you everyone for supporting our podcast. We have cruised over the 50,000 download mark. We actually did it last week.
Nah, it was like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, yay, fucking 50,000.
So thank you to the 50,000 times that we've been listened to.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Also, congrats to Gary Ashton. I know he got there as well.
Yeah, nice.
So well done, Gaza. All right.
Topic for today. So I've got it written down as weather patterns, but I think it's a little bit more in depth than that. Now, you've been in the industry for a long time. What have you seen come and go, Ben?
Well,
except for me,
I've seen that. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about just a potential drought. Okay. Not saying it's going to happen. Realistically, it's forecast to like absolutely piss down for like 7 days.
Yeah, after we decided this topic, I literally opened up my phone and Brisbane weather's like, oh, you're expecting 300 millimeters of rain. I was like, oh fuck, this is going to look good.
But even with that being said, like I just feel that it's not even about what I feel, but I just think it's a relative topic to talk about, and let's just see if how businesses are going to respond, what new ways of making money are they going to, you know, pick up?
Yeah.
Is there going to be something they can branch into? Let's not become too content with where we're at now, just in case things get turned bad.
And completely different all around the country. So we might end up with a fucking drought here. Western Australia might end up with a monsoon season that never stops. It's completely just where we are. This is what we've noticed, and we can only go by that. Really, we're not from the bomb.
And to answer your first question, I mean, when I started, you know, Brisbane was very, very much in a horrible drought.
Yeah.
And it wasn't such a bad time to start business. Obviously, I was a kid. And so, you know, when I mowed my first lawn for $25 or whatever, it was like the most money I'd ever fucking had in my life. So it wasn't bad in that sense, obviously, you know, being not even 18 yet. But, you know, I went through all the monsoonal shit that happened in 2011. And we've had some good steady years in between that time. We did experience a little bit of a drought around the time of catch price, that, you know, maybe from say 2016 and 2017. That's pre-catch pro.
Yeah.
You know, through to probably 2019. Not saying huge droughts. I know down south, you know, I remember seeing, you know, Sydney was horrible.
Yeah.
You know, people were watering lawns as a part of their job, you know, when there was water restrictions and everything like that. So, look, lots and lots to consider with this topic. Obviously, since then.
I had almost completely forgotten about that water restriction stuff. That was fucking wild. Those boys had a shit time. Just
horrible for them.
Yeah. And then they had the floods and not... You know,
you know, really, it's just a really tough business to be in. But I think what I wanted some business owners out there to understand is, you know, obviously zero turns, you know, it's all becoming more popular.
Yeah.
And when everything's growing and when the industry is booming and everything like that, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to discourage anyone from getting those machines or doing anything like that, but we just have to prepare ourselves. Like, if this moisture shuts off, things have to be done a different way.
And we're right in the middle of being, I guess, are we classed as tropical? We're pretty close.
Yeah, we're classed as tropical.
Yeah. So
I would say if you go further north, like if you have a look at, northern Queensland, I would consider that super tropical.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even, 5 hours up the road, Bundaberg, like, they still caught fucking mad drought. Like, it seems like it's either green or it's brown. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, Bundy was, like, I've got a great dealer up there, Wallo's Mower Doctor.
Yeah.
Fantastic guy. When we were starting Catch Pro, it feels like a lifetime ago now. It's really only 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, they had there wasn't even a blade of grass to cut, I remember him saying.
Yeah. I think that was the last time I was up there too. And it was fucking hot and it was dry. There were fires. I remember, because we had friends that live up just, and sort of half an hour away from Harvey Bay. There was fucking fires and there was literally like embers dropping into the earth. It was crazy shit.
I could fucking water the lawn with the amount of sweat.
Dude, it isn't. Yeah? And that's another thing too. Okay, so we live in Brisbane. Now, I don't know if you've noticed the weather pattern has shifted a little bit, considered last year and the year before. The winds have not quit since the Eka. So normally in Brisbane, we have something that everyone calls the Eka winds. So it always picks up. It's like flu season. It's fucking windy and shit. Now, we have had these fucking winds rolling through for ages, and they have just shut off in like the last 3 or 4 days, which is crazy. And we've had a little bit of rain, which has built up that humidity. And I haven't really seen a real takeoff in growth until right now. So I don't know if that's what you've seen. Like, you mow your lawn enough to know the fucking grass patterns off by heart. But I do the 40 acres, and that's kind of my gauge. That's what I see. I see it's only just really turning on now because I've been mowing it and I've been taking like maybe 4 or 5 inches off. And now the last time I did it, it was like fucking 10, 12 inches in some spots.
Yeah, I mean,
really deep.
If you're bloody bogging down or you can't cut full pace or, it's a lot thicker. But what I wanted to talk about is, like, to all the business owners out there, we always have to adapt to our new environment.
Yeah.
And it's a really unfortunate industry where it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. And we all have to find that really steady medium.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that we can do when business, like, I would suggest that business is great now for a lot of people. There's a lot of work out there.
Yeah.
And there's not that many businesses that should really be saying, like, I can't cut it in this industry.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of work out there.
And right now is when people are turning over work. And right now is growth period for a lot of businesses. So you'll notice there is a lot more work in the market. So that's what I've found this year, especially.
So some of the things that, you can do to, if, let's say, mowing drops by 30 or 40%, which is a lot, right?
That's huge.
Now, that is still not even extreme. During some of the droughts that I've been in, you might not mow a lawn for 8 weeks. And the only reason why you might mow it is to clean up the leaves.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I wanted to suggest is that, like, right now, if you're a mowing contractor and you only offer mowing as a service, it might be a good idea to, you don't have to start it straight away, but you probably should start at least the idea of accepting that you're going to have to get into hedging and weeding at some point. and offering a broader range of services. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I think hedging is a good cash cow. Like, you can make a lot of money hedging, and you do kind of have to build up a reputation with it. Like, you're not just going to get schmick well-paying jobs off the bat.
And good money too, right?
And you need the experience. Like, you can't go into someone's $1 million mansion and say, yeah, I can do these hedges, and do a fucking terrible job, because they'll never get you back, and that's, you know, word of mouth done for in that community. So I do think that hedging, weeding, pruning, like just simple gardening is definitely the way to go, because normally, you know, the gardens won't shut down. The lawns will shut down, but people will still want their gardens to look tidy. It's unfortunate, because I know that a lot of people don't love gardening, and that's fair enough. Like, I'm not a massive fan of weeding and shit like that, but you got to do what you got to do to get through.
And I also think, if you're not already familiar with this, maybe start getting familiar with some of your different fertilizers and fertilizing, well, I'm just going to say chemical programs as well.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, all of your grass gardens, natives, all of that stuff, because if the lawns do shut down, this is an excellent way to be able to just squeeze a little bit more out of that client.
And normally the drought will end, so you want to keep as much of your work as you can. Some of it, like you said, like I've had the same deal with lawns. Like, 8 weeks is a long time, and if all of your customers are in the same boat, which hopefully they're not, it's huge. Another thing that we lean towards, it's in the garden, is tree trimming and like pruning, shaping, things like that. Scope of work sort of thing, like with insurances, you might need to look at your insurances just to make sure that you have, you know, you're covered to go up. That can be really good money, like really good money. And a lot of people need tree trimming, tree pruning, whatever you want to call it. What's another one? Pressure cleaning is awesome.
Yeah, well,
pressure cleaning is a whole fucking thing on its own. Like,
yeah, that might get a little bit tricky with water usage if we actually get into a proper drought.
Yeah. But you can.
But it's high pressure water, so you know, unless you're doing, you know, so much, you could probably get away with it.
I don't think we saw the sort of, you know, the need for the exemptions like the Sydney boys did. I think we went to restrictions.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
05, 06 was awful. You couldn't, put it this way, I remember washing out a spray pack and having, not the customer of the place, but having someone just on the street come and absolutely tear me to shreds, man.
Really?
Because I was washing out a spray pack. So you're talking about not even wasting, like, you know, it's 15 litre pack, and I usually would rinse it out, say 2 or 3 times and discard that water. So, you know, you're talking about 45 litres.
Maximum.
And I believe every single rental had a water saver on every tap.
Yeah, all that sort of shit came in.
And I don't think you're allowed more than 2 or 3 minutes of showers.
I can't jerk off that quick.
I can. No. So another suggestion that I have for businesses, if you're in the residential game, it might be time to take a look at getting into the body corp scene. Yes. Maybe not as extreme as a village, but having a look at some of the commercial sides and body corp. What that's going to immediately do is at least lock in a certain amount of mows.
Yeah.
Now, this doesn't include any acreage work, because acreage work is usually still going to be considered as residential.
Yeah.
And if you're mowing 2 to 5 acres right now, bi-weekly, don't laugh at me. Well, okay, yeah, I'll laugh at myself.
You fuckhead.
If you're doing that fortnightly right now, there is no way that if we, you know, go back into any sort of drought cycle, if that lawn doesn't need mowing, that person is not fucking paying.
Yeah.
But if you're in the body corp scene, you know, I would suggest in the body corp scene, they're at least 12 months behind any ball.
Yeah. Well, that customer that I've just turned over, well, may have lost, they were putting at one stage probably start of last year, the year before, I can't remember, but they were putting like $1,200-$1,300 a month worth of water onto their lawn. And fuck me, like, it was an acreage, and I was so blessed to have that because, you know, there was nothing else. Nothing else was growing. I did have my villagers, which was good, but all of my, because I still had a bunch of residential stuff then, it was all just like, don't come. And yeah, it blew out. Like, it was about 6 weeks between cuts, which was fucking crazy for me. But all these guys who, you know, are so strict on their customers, no matter how strict you are, if you rock up and their fucking lawn is just dead, you can't mow it. Like, surely, I couldn't. I don't know if there's other people that are like, nah, get fucked, I'll roll over it.
There was a sort of a little bit of, I'm not going to say a hidden agenda, but, you know, obviously we see a lot of social media stuff, and we see a lot of operators standing up for themselves, which I think is fantastic, but you know that talk that you see where it's like, oh, this is my price, if you don't like it, go and get fucked, or,
yeah,
you know, that type of attitude is also, like, it's great, and yes, you should charge what you think you're worth, and it's great to be firm and everything. I think all of that stuff is going to fly right now.
Yeah.
But it might not fly later on.
No.
And I am not necessarily telling anyone to change anything, but I just think it's a good time to look at where you are in business and be like, okay, this is great in this environment. What is going to happen if the environment that I would be working in is not so great? Do I have any room here? Can I still be successful?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I need to change? What are the things that I need to look out for?
Yeah.
So, and I do believe that your attitude
definitely
is going to play a part in it, because if you're in the residential game, it really is true that they're just going to say, no, mate, you're not mowing.
Yeah. Now, with the pressure cleaning stuff I mentioned before, it's a big, like, it's a big jump. It's a big investment. Well, not huge, but there's a lot of investment there. And like you said, with water restrictions, but there's also, when you get that pressure cleaning gear, you can also look into things like house washing and like high window cleaning, just anything and everything. Outdoor window cleaning, fuck, if I knew someone, I'd hire them right now, because I just don't like doing that shit. But I think like window cleaning, fucking...
Well, I like cleaning windows.
Do ya?
At Christmas time, because we got like 40 fucking doors and windows in this place, and as you can see by some of them, we've never even looked at them.
Yeah.
But we had Christmas here, and just the big doors and that, like, you know, dogs are jumping all over.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll tell you what was so fucking funny. I had my girls doing it with me.
Yeah.
And Mace, like, so Mia and Nelly, they tend to do jobs with me. Like, they like it. Macy's like, nah, fuck that. Anyway, I managed to get Mace to do it, and she was really getting the hang of it, and come up pretty good. Like, I barely had to do anything to get it.
Yeah.
You know. And was just happened to see her, like, an hour later or whatever, and she's just like full walking aim, just bang straight into it, because it was so clean.
Oh, it's so clean. Fuck, it wasn't clean after that.
Just because like everything was so gross before then. Anyway, sidebar.
So I feel bad for Lou. We've got Archer and his fucking hands going to everything. So all, like, she'll do, because we've got those big bifolds. We have 5 glass doors all in a row that open and close all into one. And as soon as you close them all up, you can just see this level where he's just been like, because kids can't walk past something without putting their fucking hands on it.
Oh, man.
And like
the feet.
Oh.
The feet on the bedroom walls.
Mate.
Because I used to be that.
Yeah.
I was that kid, right?
Yeah.
And my mum was just always like, I was lucky I was allowed in my house.
Oh,
but like now, and I just always remember thinking back then, like, fuck off, mum. You know. But like now,
yeah. Oh,
my kids, like, I'm like, seriously, what have you been doing in here?
Get your feet off the walls. Yeah, so yeah, we
Side
definitely, yeah, we side back. That's what we do, mate. Unprofessional.
something that I wanted to bring up, which everyone is going to hate, is turf painting.
Damn it! I was going to say that.
Now...
I knew you were going to keep that for yourself. You should too.
We didn't discuss anything. Have a look at our notes. Yeah. I've got times written down. He's got a title.
I've got a title, Weather Patterns.
But
we know what we've done in the past to avoid going broke. So...
look, turf painting was something that I predicted... is something that I predicted that's going to take off eventually.
Yeah.
Now, lots of people vomit. They don't like it. I don't know why. I really like it. I think these days, if you source the right product, it actually looks fantastic.
Yeah.
There are some downsides, but in terms of a business venture, boy oh boy, what an untapped, easy industry.
Cheap setup.
Oh my gosh! Like
you charge right. Like you're giving someone a fucking green lawn.
Like that.
That'll last them. It's a very, very good, and it could be a very lucrative fucking idea.
Yeah. Now
setting up, like, if there was a drought, taking one of those coochie, like the hydro green buses, putting some dye in that bad boy, and painting half of Brisbane green.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are not 100% educated on the actual concept.
Yeah.
It's not just painting your lawn.
No.
There are actual fertilizer properties in the products, and the leaf will actually absorb the color, and then will actually be a part of the leaf. So it's sure enough, if you spray this stuff and then you go and lay down in it when it's wet, you will turn green. I used to have a cream Labrador.
Yeah.
But if you put it on and no one's on it for a couple of hours, rudder, mate, it is just, I love it.
Yeah.
So look, I think something that is also interesting as well is you can actually get these pigment dyes for mulch.
Oh, yeah. True.
And I'm going to start fucking with it soon too, because, well, where I am, I've got mulch. We don't really have any trees, and the sun really belts down on that stuff, and sun bleaches it.
Especially like that cypress,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the red cypress.
Not the full on.
The dyed crazy
not
red
the
stuff.
Full on wrangle.
But I do love the look of the black one in some situations, so I can fucking definitely get on board with that.
I love a dark, rich mulch.
Yeah, I fucking love it. Like, makes everything stand out.
Yeah, it just makes it look fresh and neat. So look, I think that would be something to look into to see if it could fit within your business.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about all your fertilizers and your hydro coochies and all that stuff like that, all of that shit needs water to actually make it work.
Yeah.
And you might need to dive in a little bit deeper to keep things afloat. When we go through these times.
So another thing that I used to have on my to-do list, things that I do, is gutter cleaning. I know a lot of guys offer that because, you really don't need a lot of equipment for that too. But that is something, I'm fucking 140 kilos. I'm not getting up on a roof anymore. So realistically, it's not for me. But there's heaps of young guys. There's heaps of fucking fitter guys than I am.
And girls, right?
And girls, sorry. Fucking there's that word again, guys. But yeah, it's definitely one of those sort of situations where I think gutter cleaning is good money. I think you can make a lot of money gutter cleaning, and it's another thing that's quite inexpensive to, ladder, blower, bags, brake. It's not huge. And if you've got the lawn, if you can actually if you can't mow it because of the drought, you can just blow as much as you can onto the lawn and just be like, I've got to fucking do the lawn too.
Yep. Something that I would like to suggest is, we often hear about pricing and pricing structures along with root density, and they're all topics that we've talked about in the past, but I think it'd be a good time to start looking at some of those factors and seeing how you can get as efficient as possible so that when right now everyone's pretty flat strapped. Like if you could do 12 lawns in a day, you know, at the moment you might only be doing 10 because there's so much growth, there is just so much work, and it is very hot in some places.
It's so fucking hot right now.
But it might be time to start, and sometimes when that happens, it's like, well, okay, you know, maybe I don't need that other customer over there, or maybe I don't need to do that 1-3 doors down because they're a pain in the ass. But it might be time to start considering just having a look and seeing if you can tighten up those rounds, trying to get that extra job done.
Yeah.
Seeing if you can just get a little bit more efficient so that, you know, you can actually just build up your business as much as possible, because there is going to be, not only is your current client base gonna die down, you know, instead of mowing it twice a month, you might only be mowing it once a month, but there'll be no new business either.
Yeah.
No one else will be looking to get their lawn mowed.
That's so hard.
So if you can, what did you say?
I said that's so hard.
I thought you were maybe going to say like, oh, that's so true, Ben. Yeah.
No, I was like, yeah, that's so hard that there's no extra work.
But yeah, that could be a real factor. You know, not only is your actual current business probably gonna die down a little, but there won't be any new business to fall back on.
Yeah.
So
think of it as like a bad winter. Like there's no, you know, and those other jobs like tree trimming and things like that, you do get over winter. They're the things that I schedule for winter. Another thing I schedule, so that's kind of how I thought about it when we started doing the thing, is like, okay, what do I do in winter? So you can offer mulching, because mulching helps retain water in garden beds, things like that. It's a perfect time. It'll be a fucking dog of a job. It'll be so hot. I'm not going to lie. It'll be a hard job. Again, garden cleanups, we offer those in winter. Offer just whatever the fuck you can do, basically, to get through. Because realistically, like, these cycles, they're not common here in Brisbane, but down south, I think, you know, it's really like either one or the other. There's no fucking medium grounds. It's either it's too dry or it's too wet.
I have noticed that the cycles seem to be fairly long and drawn out though. So if we do enter a new cycle, you know, it could be 3 or 4 years before there's any change.
Yeah, because there's normally like a year that tapers off, a year that's bad, and then a really bad year, and then it comes back. And it's like, ooh, things are picking up this year, and then, you know, you get back into that.
And our industry nationwide, I mean, hey, maybe we'll be blessed, and maybe just maybe it'll be like 26 degrees during the day, and it will rain like 3 times a week at night. Yeah. That would be fucking amazing.
That would be awesome.
But history's not really telling us that.
No.
History's really telling us that each cycle seems to be getting more and more extreme.
Yeah. When
it's dry, it's fucking dry. And when it's wet, it's fucking wet.
And like around the country, I don't know, but here in Brizzy, there was always like those 3 o'clock storms. You'd see them rolling in about 3 o'clock. By the time you got home from school, it'd be fucking spitting. And then
the sky would be fucking black.
Yeah, and then it'd be like game on. It'd rain for a good 2 hours if you're, you know, really lucky.
You'd go back out and play at 6 o'clock.
Then you'd roll back out, and, you know, everything would be wet, but
the sun would be
it had happened consistently, like a couple of times a month, a couple of times a week in the peak, but we just haven't had that.
We haven't had that in a while, and
we just had
it was so extreme that we were like, I can't remember ever experiencing, like, I'd never woken up to storms before.
Yeah.
And in like the last like 7 years or whatever, like, it'd be a proper electrical storm at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
It's bizarre.
Which is crazy. Like, you might see it at like 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
and it'd be done by the time you get up, but you know, that's when you know shit's getting extreme.
Yeah. And just with the added, you know, I mentioned earlier the winds, like, it rains, the fucking winds are blowing right behind the rain, and it just just sucks the moisture straight out of the ground. 2 days later, you're fucking looking at, the ground, it's as hard as a rock. So...
a few other business ideas that people can venture off into, lots of folks out there are probably already doing this, but if you're doing body corps, and even some businesses, I do think you can always look at a bin program. Obviously, you do this at the village. Yeah. I used to have some body corps where we do it. I know Tyson does it at just about every unit that he goes to, and he's got like 20,000 of them.
Yeah.
You could do some spot cleaning at some of these unit complexes. They have handrails. You could just dust them down.
Yeah.
Right. You can start incorporating small areas of this stuff, but anyone who's in the residential game, it might be a good idea to maybe get some pool education.
Well, I spoke to someone today about getting certified for pools. I've mentioned it a long time in LMCA, and everybody told me it was a waste. So I kind of got discouraged, but every village I go to now has a pool, whether it's fucking 150 units or 40 units. They have a pool, so why not offer that service? I don't particularly want to be like that pool guy, but if it's only a handful and it keeps me in their face and keeps me relevant in their lives, then
Yeah, and I think all of these ways or things that we're suggesting are a potential upsell in the future.
Yeah.
And like you said, it gives you a reason to be at their property.
Yeah.
Look, I know that there'll be some fantastic clients out there that will, even if it tapers off, they might be like, you come and you set up sprinklers or, things like that. You'll get some gems for sure. But it just may not be as lucrative as what we're doing now. And, like we said, this might not happen for 12 months, might not happen for 24 months. But I think it's just a good time. I think we've been very blessed with the amount of moisture that's been around.
Yeah.
Too much of a blessing
sometimes, yeah.
But it just, nothing is forever.
Yeah. And I think like the guys that are doing like softscaping and hardscaping and things like that, they've already got a backup, so they can start offering more to people. It's not like, because the grass isn't growing, these people still don't, they have money to spend. So if they're not spending it on getting their lawns done, you might be able to say, well, we can redo the garden edging here, we can beautify this part of your yard. And with villages, like I can say, like obviously the pressure cleaning is a big one for us, so that's where we'll be focusing. But we can beautify different parts of the village, especially seating areas, common grounds, and I just think there's so many options. But I panic, only because I'm not a massive fan of seeing what the droughts do to properties. I think it looks shit. That's why I think the lawn painting thing is such a good idea, because it's like beautifying the property and it lasts for a long time. And
you can lock them in for a cycle as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to increase your mowing. I mean, I know when I would typically, paint my lawn, I'd say about 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And it usually wasn't in the summer, not the peak of the summer. And if I was going to mow, it would usually just be to clean up leaves. But it's a way, all of these residential customers that we all have, they're all paying the money right now because they need it. When they don't need it, that's when it's like, I'll keep this $60 or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you can give them a reason to need it or whatever, they're not paying any more. They're just breaking themselves even.
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of things to look out for. I think as business owners, it's a way to not stay content. It's good to be content sometimes.
Yeah.
If you're super happy and super confident that you can always be sustainable.
Yeah.
But we've just seen, look, we've seen businesses close down because of the amount of rain we've had.
Yeah.
Which I think is extreme.
I
think it's very extreme that someone had to close down their business because it's too wet.
Well,
Yeah, but
like
think about
6
when
and 7 weeks. Like,
yeah,
without
but
working.
you think when it's. I mean, look, I know when those droughts hit.
Yeah.
You know, I know for ages, even at the village.
Yeah.
So we're only going back like half a decade.
Yeah.
The only reason why we were mowing is because we were hedging, and I was telling the boys had to water everything before we mowed.
Yeah.
Because there was just too much dust.
I remember that. Yeah, well, even when I first started, we had to do that because we were just getting complaints that we were causing too much dust. But
yeah, so...
Yeah, it's one of those fucking things, I just don't want it to happen because, like I said, I don't like dealing with it. It's obviously going to be hot and dry.
Well, it's not going to be good for cash, bro.
dusty. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, true.
I'll tell you what is... no one would probably really know this. It's just that it's actually way easier to use a Catch Pro in less demanding conditions. Like when it's like really wet and the grass is growing, they will buy Catch Pros because they need to catch.
Yeah.
And that can increase your workload.
Yeah.
Whereas like when it's like, oh, you know, I could use the Catch Pro on this, right? It's actually very pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not cramming too much in there. You know, you're probably taking away 2 or 3 less catcher loads.
Yep.
The lawn will come up fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know that you haven't like stressed everything out and you're sweating and there's flies all over you and everything.
Yeah.
Like I know sometimes some businesses, they say, oh, we're looking to get a Catch Pro. We're probably going to need one in summer. And I always tell them, like, get it in the off season because it's going to give you a chance to kind of get your head around it for the summertime because, you know, they can take a bit of getting used to. So that's why I mow my lawn so much as well, because it just like the mower's just not working anywhere near as hard and it just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. It's very true. I'm lucky.
People probably go through a shit ton of blades.
Yeah. Native buffalo made them. I don't have to fucking mow my lawn very often at all.
I will give everyone a quick sneak peek too.
Oh.
We are currently negotiating with Ballard to finally have the Razor, the Ripper and the high-rise blades available in Australia.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Through Catch Pro only. We've never been able to make this deal work in the past, but Catch Pro's growing.
Yeah.
And maybe I can order like 20,000 blades. So
Nice.
Haven't been able to in the past, but we're getting really close, and it's going to be fucking exciting because we're going to have a high lift blade for like the SFC 30.
Yep.
We're going to have a high lift, and I'm talking a mega high lift.
Like the ones that I used on the Turfy?
They'll be like that, but they'll be only 2.5 inches, so you're not going to have the extra load.
Nice.
They will have that huge wing on them. You're going to have them for the Toro 30-inch, whatever they call it.
The Turf Master.
Turf Master and the other...
Time Master, that's it.
Yeah, for both of those options,
Yeah.
whereas currently right now you can really only get a Gator.
Yeah.
And we're going to have it for all the popular machines.
Yeah, nice. Very nice.
So we're not going to have stepped blades, which we don't need everywhere, but certain models we do.
Stepped blades. Okay, so I had a fucking set of step blades on, and I went to the village today and I did a full fucking makeover on the V-Ride. Oil filter, fuel filter, did the whole fucking thing, spark plug. Changed the oil, changed the blades. So I went from normal blades to step down blades. And I was like, all right, because Rusty sharpened these fucking step down blades. So I just wanted to cut something. So I went out to the footpath. I just put on 2. And I was just like, and just fucking, I was just spitting fucking dirt everywhere. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So lucky I went down a bit. It's not near the front gate. So.
Yeah. No, they'll get you down a good half an inch.
I fucking had to go back and tell all the boys, I'm like, now put step downs on these, check your fucking levels.
Everything that you know before, go up at a minimum 1/4 inch.
Yeah. So I was doing I think I was on 2.5, and I had to go up to like 3. So yeah, fuck. I've done that before, but I haven't done it so great. Like
I got abused once from it.
Did ya?
Yeah, like someone, they actually ordered stepped blades. And they've come back to me and said, like, mate, I just fucking absolutely chewed a customer's lawn. Like, only one line. I was like, you ordered stepped blades. Like, we spoke about this.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, I can't do nothing.
What a waste of a phone call.
Yeah, well, no, it was via email, so.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, that kind of takes more effort.
It does,
Emails take more effort.
That's funny.
All right, well, I think we're getting ready to put a bow on this episode.
Yeah.
I hope we're able to shed some light on, being able to diversify when it's needed.
Yeah. And it's an unexpected thing too. Like, there's no telling when it's going to happen.
Well, one of the things about it is that it's a gradual thing that you don't notice until it's too late.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. 100%.
Like, it doesn't just turn into a drought the next day. It happens over the course of, usually a couple of months. But, you just don't notice it until it's like, whoa, I've got no work to do. And as business owners, I do feel that it's important to, be able to adapt to any climate that we're given.
And I have to say, now that I was actually talking to one of the boys about it, I said, it's a whole different thing now. When I was solo, it was just me I was looking after. Now I've got like 4 other families I'm looking after. So I really have to make sure that when it comes to crunch time and there is some sort of a shift, that I have all my ducks in a row and I'm ready to fucking send them out and do what they need to do to make that money.
Well, you'd be alright, because at the village it's like, fuck yeah, let's have a cup of tea.
I know, yeah.
I remember that, man. I remember seeing, like, this is when I was still a contractor, and where obviously Cash Pro at the time was not at the point where it was supporting me in any way, shape or form. But I remember, like, everyone was like stressing out, hey, me and Rusty are just at the village, like, fuck yeah, you want to play some cards? What do you want to do? Like, because we were getting paid, man, and there was no issues. Like, no one ever, I don't think it was ever brought up at any time through a committee, through a manager or anything, like, hey Ben, what are you going to do to make up?
Yeah.
We were just like, I mean, fair enough, we weren't mowing as often. We were just probably putting more effort into the gardens.
Yeah,
but it was
just a bonus of circumstance.
Oh man, it was way cruisier.
Yeah.
So
I've had similar experiences at one of my villages, but it hasn't been as well received. I did get asked, like, "No, you're not doing the lawns. What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm obviously fucking doing something." Like, we just start trimming everything we can. So yeah.
Alrighty. Well.
You done?
Yeah, I'm putting a bow on it.
Yeah, I'm done.
So, until next time.
Yeah.
I'm Matt Cashpro, he's at TBL, we're out of time.
Peace!